found out, where'd he go? When Jim found out that he was, he goes, "So what else do you do?" And he also has his business on the side. And he goes, "Well, what's your normal rate?" And he goes, "Well, 55." And so Jim says, "We're paying 55. We shouldn't be."
Okay. Good evening, everybody. We're all set with our recording. Very good. Good evening, everybody. My name is Barbara Rosenberg. I'm a senior advisor with Elderwerks Educational Services. We'd like to welcome you, Dina Liss and I, head of our center here, and all of our grant writing, etc. We are thrilled to have you all online, and we have a bunch of folks here within our center. Elderwerks is a not-for-profit 501c3, and our mission is to provide resources for seniors and their families, senior living placement, home care placement, those that are on Medicaid and in need. We will assist any senior with any issue that they have. And we're at 847-462-0885 here at Elderwerks, and we're here Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and we're all on our cell phones 24 hours. So very happy to have you online and to have all of our guests here in the center. I'd like to go ahead and introduce to you wonderful human being. That's the first thing I will say about you, Carol. Carol Brandt is the founder and president of Brandt Financial Concepts, located not far from here in downtown Palatine, and celebrating their 40th year. Carol has a CLTC designation, meaning that she is a certified long-term care professional. She is also a member of the MIT Planning for Longevity Network, with many years of being involved and visible in the community. Carol's firm is one of Elderwerks' professional partners and was our first diamond level sponsor for our annual Aging Better Expo, held in August annually. It will also take place this year, coming up in 2024. So be sure to make a note of this, and we will be sending out save the dates. Carol has become a trusted resource for us at Elderwerks, who's with her expertise, we find a value to share with people like all of you here in person and attending virtually. Carol, along with Jim Brandt, hello, and Michelle Daniels are here with us from Brandt Financial team this evening. With congratulations on your 40th year. Thank you for hosting this beautiful reception and evening for those who could not attend in person. And with that, I'd like to introduce Carol, and here is your mic.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. All right. Good evening and welcome. What I'd like to talk to you about is how to plan for long-term care and all the things that are involved in it. But I'd like to talk to you first about avoiding needing long-term care. So we're going to talk about lifespan versus health span, understanding the differences, and then we'll talk about how to prepare as we age. This is our office building here in downtown Palatine. We're not far from here. We're not far from here in downtown Palatine, across from the gazebo on Slade Street. And we bought the building many years ago in 1985, gutted it, restored it, and have some good times there. And that's where we visit with our clients. Carol? Yes. A little louder? Oh, okay. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to talk a little bit about lifespan versus health span. They say that lifespan can be defined as how long we'll live, but what about health span? I personally like to think about living healthy and doing things to keep myself young and flexible. But health span is defined as the period of time spent in good health and free of chronic illness and disabilities of aging. And who knows? They say a baby born today, we have no idea how long a child born today is actually going to live, but our lifespan could end up 100. But what if 50 of these years are spent in ill health? So let's try to work on that. So we need to plan before. If I could give a tip at the beginning of this, and then that is to plan before, not when the crisis is at the door. So some say that health span is more important than lifespan. So it's something to think about. Let's see what we can do about that. What are the odds? Odds of a home burning down is 3 in 100. Our chances of totaling a car at some point, this is kind of funny here now. Our chances of totaling a car at some point during our lives is 18 of 100. I was in a serious accident just a few weeks ago, and my car and the other car were totaled, and I'm fine. But I guess I'm one of those 18. On average, 72 of 100 people will end up needing some type of care after age 65. And tonight is not to talk to you about statistics that scare you, but to help you plan. But these are what the numbers say. Less than 7% of adults over age 50 have done any planning for extended care. We found personally that at the onset of the pandemic, we had never received more calls for people inquiring about extended care, long-term care, what to do than we did then. And the calls were coming in from people as young as 40 who were caring for parents, grandparents, and seeing what their disabilities were doing to the families. They may have been working at home, but many young people, many adult children were caring for their parents through their illnesses, and they wondered what's going to happen if this turns out to be a long-term thing. So in this conversation, and I'd like it to be a conversation, so are people zooming in, able to connect?
Yep,
Okay,
they can raise their hand or put a question in the chat.
Okay, I'd like this to be a conversation. I want to talk with you, not at you. So let's try to do that so we can actually have a conversation. So in order to talk about planning for long-term care, it wouldn't be appropriate without talking about, well, what can we do to age well and live well and plan well? So maybe we don't need that. Maybe we don't need that care. So this is something that we talked about at the Elderwerks Annual Expo. Is we started, now you can't see this now, but we had started out with a ukulele singer songwriter, and we started out with song. Why would we do that? You'll see. So aging well, in my world, it involves singing. I'm not a professional singer, but it involves stretching and strengthening. Why sing? Well, I'm not saying my voice is like I'm 20, but a quick hello is all it takes for people to judge us and hear our voice, and kind of, you've talked to people on the phone where you sound, oh, I talked to it was a young person that answered, it was an older person that answered. Men's voices tend to go higher as we age, and women's voices go lower. So singing impacts our immunity, our lung function, our memory, our voice, as we said, mental health, and coping with physical and emotional pain. So whether it's in the shower or to the radio or whatever, use your voice and exercise it like you exercise your body. So singing daily can benefit our hello, and it can sound like it's always been. So just kind of think about that as you hear your voice changing and want to use it. And even if it's deepened or raised a bit, it doesn't mean you can't fix it like you can fix your joints and such by stretching. Why stretch? Maintaining mobility can be difficult. Muscles and joints, they weaken, range of movement. It deteriorates with age. But what if we keep things moving? I don't post on Instagram, but I do look at it once in a while, and I see all kinds of exercises, and I see people quite senior doing remarkable things just because they stretch. Stretching for flexibility, it increases circulation and blood flow, and it gives us greater quality of life. There's one woman on there that can get up from a sitting position off of the floor and says that there's some odds, chances there, if you can't get up with the floor like that, chances are you could be disabled in life. So stretching reduces lower back pain, arthritis, the risks of falling, and can improve poor posture. I've seen some people doing this where they're waiting for something. They're standing at the shopping cart, standing on one leg and just kind of holding on a little bit. You do that, you strengthen that leg. There's nothing that's keeping us from doing that while we're waiting in line at the grocery store or in other lines or for a concert or whatever. Just shift legs, stand on one leg. Nobody even needs to know you're doing it. You know, just kind of put your toe in the ground and stand there and hold on one finger on the shopping cart, and it increases the strength in that leg. It's probably been about 7 years. I had an occasion to have a chiropractor look at my neck, and there was a massage gal there that she gave me this one stretch that involved looking down and looking up in the corner. And I had had this neck thing going on for, it seemed like years. And that particular stretch solved the problem. And I just started stretching from the bedroom in the morning. And everything, think about anything you can do in bed, whether it's your arm this way, that way, stretching, holding for 30 seconds, crossing the leg over, pulling your knee up to your chest. Then I stand, everybody's got a tall bed these days. I stand on the floor, put one leg on the bed, it's like a hurdle stretch, 30 seconds, bend over that. I do that for, it's probably about 15 minutes, and he knows because he's in the bed next to me, feeling all this motion. But I've done this for 7 years, and quite honestly, I'm not going to show you, but I can almost put my leg in back of my neck when I'm sitting on the couch. Well, is that good? Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. So I'm pretty flexible. Michelle knows I'm the one that pops down on the floor and wiping up the crumbs after we have our lunch, not somebody else's crumbs, but my own crumbs. And I'm like, almost every time I've been down there, I'm saying, like, I'm so glad I'm flexible. So I am very grateful that I have done that. And is it too late? No, it's never too late to start. Just start in the bedroom in the morning. If you do that and I have some water up in the master bedroom too. We have a basket of water, whether it's an 8 or a 16 ounce. I drink a couple of those before I go downstairs. So just think about this. Think of the power of having this stretch in the morning, 10, 15 minutes before you even leave the master bedroom, and you've consumed, 8 to 16 ounces of water. That is a wonderful way to start the day. So I honestly do stretch from my bed. And here's my voucher here. I have a blank screen. Oh, what did I do here? Okay, there we go. All right. Why strengthen? Okay. I work out here at Exercise Coach. Jim and I both do. Had to take a break for car accident, but I'm going back. But strengthen training enhances our ability for our quality of life, improves our ability to do our everyday activities. We need to be strong. We need to be able to, if we're down on the floor, we need to be able to get up again. It can protect our joints from injury, it builds muscle, and it contributes to better balance, reduces falls. Why do people end up in nursing homes? It's breaking a hip, right? You always hear about breaking a hip, and what happens when they break a hip and they're in a nursing home? You always hear about them passing away. Once somebody's older and falls and breaks it, it's awful. So let's avoid that. Let's not need the long-term care planning that I'm talking about, but let's try to find ways to go beyond that. So it builds muscle, we balance, it can keep us independent. All right. Did anybody wonder what the timer was in front of you? Okay. Like, can you tell I'm a multitasker, that I'm doing stuff all the time? Okay. Well, I got this from Mutual of Omaha. It's one of our companies that helps us with our Medicare supplement planning. And they sent this out I guess they were marketing their dental plan. Well, I put this in the bathroom and I'm like, I do stuff while I'm blow drying my hair and curling my hair, whatever. But I also do something when I'm brushing my teeth. I take the timer. You're supposed to brush your teeth 2 minutes. Like, okay, so you each have one of these. You're supposed to brush your teeth for 2 minutes. Well, and when we remodeled our bathroom, we have the higher sink. So it's easier with the higher sink. But I do backward leg lifts and tighten my butt when I'm brushing my teeth. And I do it for the count of 10 as I do each quadrant of my mouth. Now you're brushing your teeth and you're going to do it for 2 minutes. Why don't you do something else? So my butt is hard as a rock. So you can join me. Okay, no excuses. So brushing your teeth, we talked about shopping cart. You can stand on one leg to work on balance, waiting in line while you're cooking, while you're watching your favorite show. You could be sitting there with a soup can and just be doing things isometrics is all about, that's another thing. Isometrics is all about resistance, doing things like such that you don't have to be holding actually physical weights, but it can be while you're watching your favorite show and multitasking. Okay, live well. Years ago, my father-in-law said, I can't tell you how comforting it is to know that nobody's in my house because I have a security system. We didn't have a security system at the time, and Jim was doing a little bit of traveling. And after he said that, I'm like, you're not going anywhere until we have a security system. I'm not marketing for ADT, but they come in and they install everything at no charge, and then they charge you a monthly fee to have it. And then you get to move it with you, meaning that same equipment that you had at that home, you get to put in the other one. They don't charge it. They only charge you for an upgrade. But it was a reasonable cost, and we now have a security system. Adding home safety features for safety in the shower. So he has his knee replacement. And what happens? The guy that installed the shower door, he cut the bracket too short, and it only took a couple of times. It was only a matter of time before sliding the door back and forth. And that several 100-pound door fell in on him when he was taking his first shower after his knee surgery. Then here's the former mom and me, the superpower. Somehow I ended up picking up the door and moving it over but getting it off of him. But safety, having a shower door, having safety bars in the shower. Because think about the most dangerous place in your house if you're alone. That's got to be the shower, isn't it? Because you could fall in there and get stuck and not have anybody to help you. And then the other is, if I lived alone, I would definitely have I've fallen and I can't get up watch or some kind of an alert system, because people that live alone can really get into trouble. So I think I would have something like that. So now we're going to talk about, now you talked about ways to avoid needing care, but exactly what is extended long-term care? Some people find it confusing. Some confuse it with healthcare, which is provided by skilled medical personnel. Some think it refers to medical insurance when we say long-term care. No, medical insurance pays the bills for medical expenses. Others assume it refers to being in a nursing home, just being in a nursing home. But actually, extended long-term care, it's not a policy. It's not medical care or it's a place. It's the personal care. It is defined as this personal care or supervision needed by us at any age for extended period of time. And this is the kind of care that's generally associated with aging, but it could really be needed by someone at any time. My accident. I didn't have an accident from aging. I had an accident because somebody hit me and I could have been disabled from that. So the unexpected, it could be a stroke, it could be an aneurysm, it could be an auto accident, it could be a fall at home. So long-term care could be needed by anyone. And we all know someone in some way, shape, or form where maybe there's been some MS, some Parkinson's, some early dementia. It happens. And people need to plan before the crisis. So when we talk about this type of planning and risk management, we take proactive measures to ensure just about everything else in our lives. We have health insurance, we have auto insurance, we have life and disability insurance, we have homeowners insurance, because these things can be taken away from us. And we pay a premium. We may never have our house burned down or have a car accident or have that total loss. But protecting our retirement, extended long-term care planning, that gets put on the back burner. Why? Because we have mortgages, we're paying for college, and we're just trying to get going in life. And so it gets put on the back burner. But yet these adult children that are calling now, they're seeing, after the pandemic began, they're seeing the results of maybe their parents not having done planning. And so we're having younger people inquire about incorporating long-term care planning in their overall financial plans. And if your financial planner tells you you're all set, then ask them to see it, because if there has not been a long-term care event interjected into and projected into your financial plan, and assuming that one or both of you in your family needs planning, has a long-term care event, and where's the money going to come to pay for it, then your financial advisor isn't really advising. So insist upon that being incorporated into your plan. We call it stress testing a plan. You need to have your financial plan stress tested to see if it can survive this kind of event. And unfortunately, most can't. Elderwerks gets a lot of calls from people from the Barrington area, not just people that haven't saved properly, people that have a lot of savings, but you can plow through $150,000 a year in a facility. In memory care is even more. So you got to plan for it. So we're going to take a peek at this and just get a quick understanding of long-term care with this short video. Is it coming? Anybody? Tech support. It's a video, yeah.
With audio, I'm assuming?
Yes, yes.
Sorry, I need to update something.
It's okay.
Sharing does not have audio. Yeah, and for those in the room,
Understanding long-term care. You are about to learn the 3 most important things to understand about long-term care. First, what is long-term care? Second, where do you receive long-term care? Third, the hidden significance of long-term care on the people you love, the people you've invited into your life. What is long-term care? Long-term care is care that is needed over an extended period and comes in 3 types. One type of long-term care is personal care, sometimes called custodial care. It's when you may need help with various tasks we do each day, but take for granted when we were healthy, such as eating, getting dressed, or walking. The second type of long-term care is skilled care, for which you need a skilled specialist or nurse. The third type of long-term care is supervisory care, if you get Alzheimer's or other kinds of dementia. Where do you receive long-term care? Long-term care often evokes images of a nursing home, and while that is a subset of care, most people prefer to stay at home or receive care in an assisted living facility where they can be with other people. The hidden significance of long-term care on the people you love. It's of critical importance to understand what long-term care does not just to you, but to loved ones, both emotionally and financially. Long-term care causes you to be unable to fully care for yourself, and it impacts those you love by requiring their full attention. Will it be from your husband or wife? One of your adult daughters or sons? What impact will that have on them? You may say, I would never ask those I love to care for me. None of us want that. But if we fail to adequately plan, what choice are we leaving them? Of course, they will want to help as best as they can. Proper planning can help you afford and access the care you need so that your family can stay focused on caring about you and not for you. That planning often includes the right insurance to directly help you and also help the people you've invited into your life. Now that you know the 3 most important things about long-term care, it's time to have an insurance specialist help you be better prepared for long-term care.
Okay then. Oh, pardon me. Okay, now that we've seen that, this is another slide that's going to be difficult to see, but it's basically who pays for care, and it addresses Medicare, private Medigap, meaning Medicare supplement, Medicaid, or paying on your own. And you can if you can see at a glance under Medicare, does not pay, does not pay, does not pay, does not pay. Medicare, private medical insurance, and Medicare supplements never pay for long-term care. So we're kind of on our own, other than 100 days for skilled care, which is following a stroke, maybe a knee replacement, hip replacement, something like that. But as soon as we show no signs of improvement, we're maybe shipped off, or the coverage changes to pay on our own. So it's important that we're prepared for that. I'd have to say that 50% of the people that come in to see me, because I help people with Medicare supplement planning and Medicare enrollment, when they come in, at least 50% of the people are shocked. They think, oh my gosh, doesn't Medicare pay for that? I thought I was all set when I turned 65. No. During open enrollment season, it's a reminder, it's important to know medical and personal medical insurance, group insurance, Medicare and Medicare supplements never pay for long-term care. You can see how shocked they are. That's how it is. That's how it is. Medicare Advantage plans also don't pay. I don't care what Joe Namath says and Lionel Richie, they don't. They just don't. Plans may pay for short-term care up to 100 days, and that is only if skilled care or rehab is needed. What does that mean? Skilled care. That means a nurse or other professional in rehab. When Jim had his knee replacement, I mentioned that, not violating HIPAA. He's my husband, I can talk about it. He went into a rehab place because we have a 2-story home and don't have a first floor master. I got him 11 days in there, and that 11 days was covered, no problem, where they could bring the therapy right to him. He could go right in the next room. All that was great. That was skilled care, right? A physical therapist is a skilled professional. But Medicare never covers long-term care. If you don't need skilled care, you've only got that 100 days, and it's only if you can qualify and really need that 100 days. Most people are much less, receive much less in benefits. So we're going to take a look at traditional long-term care insurance. We're going to look at the different types of plans, so you don't leave with saying, okay, we heard all this bad news and I'm scared and now I know I need to plan. Traditional long-term care insurance, that's the first thing, because that's the first type of coverage that came out for people. Basically at home, most people prefer to remain at home. Everybody wants to stay home. No one wants to go someplace. But an extended care plan can provide benefits to help us remain in the comfort of our own home and provide the services that we need. In a care facility, sometimes more care is needed that can be provided at home. And in that case, the long-term care policy also covers the services of a long-term care facility, assisted living, or nursing home care, in addition to that home care, if that would work out for us. Traditional long-term care policies and those with chronic illness riders, the trigger to get in, to qualify for benefits, is the same with all of them, which is really nice. So becoming eligible for benefits, we're eligible for benefits if we're chronically ill and a licensed medical professional has given us a plan of care that we need these services. To qualify, we need to be dependent on someone else and need assistance in 2 of 6 activities of daily living. They're also referred to as ADLs. And these ADLs are the transferring, and that would be like from bed to chair, bed to other place. Toileting, continence, bathing, dressing, and eating for at least 90 consecutive days. Years ago, long-term care was not determined totally to be tax-free. It was kind of gray. And so the government then said, okay, we're going to establish some guidelines that if the long-term care plans look like this, they have this criteria, the 2 of 6, if it has a 90-day waiting period before accessing benefits, then we can guarantee that. Did you have a question?
I did.
Yes.
90 days for consecutive care. Are all policies always 90 days now, or if somebody has an old policy, can they write a policy that is 6 months or a year worth of care prior to the long-term policy?
If someone had a 6-month or a 12-month waiting period, notice the word says at least 90 days. So for example, if you came to see me for a plan, I would show you the optimal waiting period before benefits begin is 90 days. If you say, well, I'd like a 6-month plan and would like to save, there is not very much premium savings by waiting for 6 months or waiting for a year. So I have never had anyone choose that 12-month waiting period. So it doesn't mean that you can't buy a plan with a 12-month waiting period. I'm just saying it has to be at least 90 days in order for it to be, that's called tax qualified now. So in the old days, when these plans first came out, you could just be at that time kind of suffering the rigors of going through chemotherapy and could qualify for long-term care. But it was gray as to whether or not those benefits would qualify. Now it says you need to be, definitely need to have need for help in 2 of 6 activities and have at least 90 days waiting period. We're also eligible to receive benefits if we need supervision relative to cognitive issues. So someone with Alzheimer's, cognitive impairment. Yes.
Some of the older policies have 30 or 60 days, some of the Unum, John Hancock, some of the longer policies that were
The older
unlimited. Those had old ones, which there are still a lot of 90-year-olds running around that have those.
Yes.
And they had those old school.
I have some clients with old school and they have not been taxed on their benefits. They have collected, and even though the carriers like Hancock and Time Insurance Company are no longer writing new business, the administrative services companies that are handling them are doing a great job, and I haven't had anybody report to me that they have been taxed on benefits. So the
So the client needs to know they're paying this, they have to have the cash, they have to pay the care. So if they're moving into a community, for example, they have to pay that community 30, 60, or 90 days. They have to have the money still.
Yes, they need to be able to, you need to, well, even if you didn't have it, it would be great to, you'd only know that you'd have to pay back somebody for 90 days or come up with that 90 days. But yeah, that's part of your planning, is to know how you're going to self-insure for that first 90 days. Right. But there are some cash benefits that are available with a number of policies that pay cash on day one. And I don't mean cash under the table like a bad thing. I mean cash. Those are the newer riders, right? So after the waiting period, what happens then? So in general, once we become eligible for benefits, our policy elimination period begins, and that's the waiting period that we talked about. The waiting period starts on the first day we're deemed chronically ill and receive a covered service. Some plans have a 0-day waiting period under certain circumstances, and those are the ones that have that cash rider, and those can pay sooner. Once the elimination period is satisfied, covered services are paid for at the facility or at home for the benefit period. Everything is custom now, so you pick the benefit period, whether it's, some 3 years, 5 years, lifetime, and build a plan. Everything is custom, and it's all about budget. It's kind of like going to the grocery store. If all you have is $100 in your wallet, then that's what we're going to get. We're going to fill the cart with $100 worth of groceries. So nothing has to be, oh, I can't afford it. Then we'll make a plan that fits your budget. There's really something for everybody. And then as long as we remain eligible and our pool of money hasn't been exhausted. So think of it as a pot of money. So we're buying a pot of money. Maybe it's a lifetime pot of money, or maybe it's a monthly benefit. It could be $5,000 a month for 5 years or $5,000 a month forever. At this point, I'll address that Illinois is a partnership state, and that having even a small plan, a traditional plan in place, lets us keep that amount of assets in our zone without having to spend down to nothing in Illinois, $2,000. Mary, maybe you can address that. You probably run into that. Mary Vanek is an estate planning attorney, and while you don't specialize in elder law, you probably had come across clients with that type of situation where they're seeking advice about spending down. And in Illinois, it's 2,000, and Illinois is a partnership state. It's one of a handful. So basically having some sort of plan in place. Let's say we had $300,000 in our pool of funds and then needed Medicaid at some point. We'd be able to keep $300,000 in our family assets and not having to spend down to the $2,000. So there's something else to touch on here. Michelle, you kind of brought this to my attention. Michelle's dad was in a Medicaid facility, and she shared that with people. And she mentioned about his allowance of the money he was able to keep for personal spending was $60 a month. Well, guess what? In Illinois, it's 30, and it's been 30 for 35 years or something like that. So ever since it was established, and it's never changed. There are states that allow seniors to keep 90, but with that $30, you're supposed to buy your underwear and your personal products and get your hair cut and all these things. Yes.
90 still existing in supportive living.
Supportive living. Okay.
Supportive living, which is got Medicaid piece to it.
Okay.
It's like independent living with a little bit of services.
But only Medicaid.
You can pay privately. Usually, a lot of the places they require 3 to 6 months of private pay. Some require none, and then they keep all of your Social Security, et cetera, and give you $90 a month back.
Tell me about the 30. Where's the 30?
Skilled nursing home.
Skilled nursing. Was your
Yeah,
dad in a skilled nursing?
home.
Skilled
Yeah.
Okay, he was in a okay. All
correct.
right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Carol, there was a comment about
Yes.
Medicaid.
Say again. Do you not? Is that what you said?
It was saying you do not have to spend down 2,000 question mark.
I don't want to get out of my lane here because I'm not an attorney. I'm not an elder law attorney. And I would really prefer that question to be addressed to an elder law attorney. I just know that in Illinois, because on the long-term care side, this being a partnership state, that people are able to keep beyond that from my perspective, whatever it is that's in their pool of money. If there's 200 or 300,000 in their pool of money, in that case, in that situation, they would not have to spend down to 2,000. But I don't want to.
We have a Medicaid specialist we can give you. We have a Medicaid specialist who can answer that question.
Okay.
And then there was another question
Yes.
online that's, what if you retire in another state and need long-term care? Is the policy good in other states or not?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Those Medicaid laws would rule probably, but the policy goes with you, like a Medicare supplement, a non-Medicare Advantage Medicare supplement goes with you in any state. Just like life insurance, you change your address, right? You change your address and you have your life insurance payable to your beneficiaries no matter where you die. So yes, your long-term care plan or your life insurance with a rider or whatever type of plan you chose, just you change your address and it goes with you. Good question. So this is, I need to see my top. A traditional long-term care plan might look something like this. This is Larry, my client, Larry, age 65. He took a long-term care plan with a 3% compound inflation rider. And for $318 a month, it got him $6,000 benefit, tax-free for 5 years. Try to give you some perspective into what's really out there. This assumes a 5% discount because he's living with a partner. So there's Larry. Why his partner didn't buy, that's a long story. But for $318 a month, he gets a long-term care plan. He has an initial pool of money. This is day one of $360,000. And it gives him, after that 90-day waiting period, $6,000 per month. And there's an inflation rider on there that increases that pool of benefits. So this is assuming, hopefully, knock wood, we have the same premium, that in year 15, he's got $560,000 in his pool of money. Why? Because his inflation rider beefed it up, right? for $9,300 a month tax-free. At the end of year 20, 65, 75, that's 85. He's got $650,000 and $10,800 a month. And in year 30, $874,000 or $14,600 per month at the end of the year. We're going to Hank now? You went to Hank.
You go ahead.
Was Hank next? Let me go back. Okay. So,
I'm just trying to move John.
okay.
Sorry.
Now it's okay.
You should be able to go.
Can you clear my top there?
That's fine.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's what Larry could do with a traditional long-term care plan. Yes. What's the next one? Okay. Yep. Yes. Okay. Another traditional, okay, we've talked about Larry. Let's go to the next. I'm a little frozen on my clicker here. I think that's going to be Hank. Stand by. We're all friends here, so let's try. This is where I need my magic wand.
You should be able to go for
Okay. All right. Oh, here we are.
They don't see it.
Okay. Another traditional long-term care plan might look something like this. Hank waited till he was 75. He hadn't done any long-term care planning. He came in to see me. He was in decent health, and you don't have to be totally healthy to get, that's another thing. Pre-screen people so that nobody's declined. Nobody gets declined on my watch because I pre-screen people, gather information ahead of time, leave no stone unturned. And when I tell people it's okay to go, it's because we got a nice strong green light so that people don't have a decline on their history. There's no sense in that, putting people through an exam. Well, most of the time you don't need an exam. It depends on the plan. But I try to pre-screen. I do pre-screen everyone ahead of time. And we've got a nice green light before we proceed. So Hank decided to wait, not decided, but he waited till 75. The estate planning attorney referred the client to me. He came in. He got a long-term care plan with a 20-year 3% compound inflation rider. That means the rider was going to increase his benefit at 3% for 20 years and then stop. Gave him an immediate monthly benefit of $3,000 for 4 years, and he got a 5% discount. Now it's not huge. It's not ideal, but it's something. It's something to satisfy the Illinois is a partnership state. So now he gets to keep that pot of money for himself that you'll see here. So he started out with a $144,000 pool of benefits and $3,000 a month. His inflation rider is going to grow this now without increasing his premium necessarily to $193,000 with $4,000 a month at year 10. Up to $224,000, and this is guaranteed. This inflation rider, this is guaranteed. This is not in the market or anything like that. $244,000 will increase his monthly available benefit, tax-free benefit at year 15, and in 20 years he'd have $260,000 in his pot. Still, he's in a partnership state. He's in Illinois, and that will save from having to spend down his assets if and when he needed Medicaid assistance. So that's Hank, age 75. So it's not too late for many people. Okay, another traditional long-term care, because I wanted to have a little bit of focus on married and unmarried couples, same-sex partner discounts and things like that. Sometimes people are hesitant to step up because they're worried about exclusionary language. They're worried about exclusions of any kind. They're worried about discrimination. Do I or do I not qualify for discounts? You don't have to worry about any of that. The world is quite equal. Here's Philip and Jeremy, 52 and 56. They have premiums of $256 and $256 that they're putting into. That was their budget. Each have an initial $360,000 pool of benefits at $6,000 a month. We were able to put a shared care rider on there. So when there's couples on the same plan, we can put a shared care benefit on there. So with each of them having $6,000 a month benefit, if one would use up their benefits, and they could tap on the other if the other hadn't used their plan. So their inflation rider increases each each of their pools of money. So that this long-term care plan has a lifetime 3% compound inflation rider. You can have compound or simple. It can be 3 or 5 or in between. It's going to provide them each with an immediate benefit of $6,000 for 5 years. There's a 15% partner discount in there. And this is what it looks like. $560,000 is in their pool each for $9,300 a month at year 15. How did we do that? The rider, the 3% inflation rider, they're young, they started early. $650,000, $10,800 at year 20, $870,000 for $14,600 a month at year 30, and they're less than $300 a month. So you pay yourself first, you put it into your budget, and that's how you do it. That's how you do it.
Carol,
Yes.
before you go on to the next subject, for long-term care, if somebody gets a policy, is it only good in Illinois? Does it go covered globally in the US? And what happens if they go international?
Globally in the US, yes, they can use their policy, just like that life insurance example. I said you have your policy if you pass away anywhere, disability benefits, change your job, move to another state. Your plan, now you may have economic issues, like you move to a more expensive state or a lower cost state, right, where you get more for your dollar. That could change, but your pool of money, your benefits, and the plans paying. Now, in the US, if you go outside of the US, generally we see benefits are reduced to a year in some cases, and there's issues because people on some plans you need to be certified that you are still in need of long-term care, and now we don't have a US-based physician, so that could mean a trip back to the States every year, but some may not require anything at all. So there's many different companies out there. So that's a great question.
Thank you. It came from one of our Zoom watchers.
Oh,
today.
great question. So off you go, Philip and Jeremy. All right. Then we saw several examples of traditional long-term care. That is, I don't want to say this in a negative way, but those are policies like your auto, homeowners, health insurance. You use it, you don't get a refund if you didn't use it. And I don't want to say use it or lose it because that sounds negative, but it's a plan that you pay for. I never saw anybody cry because their house didn't burn down or their car wasn't totaled, right? You pay for insurance and you have the benefit there if you need it. So that's what traditional long-term care plans are about. And those are the first types of coverage that came out. Now we're going to look at another type, and that's life insurance with a living or an accelerated benefit rider. Living benefit riders, what is that? Well, it's called life insurance. You don't have to die to collect on it. That means we can tap into the benefits ourselves and receive tax-free benefits and not have to pass away and use some of that. Think of the power of that. You pay one monthly premium for a $500,000 plan and then become disabled and need long-term care, and you can tap into a portion of that $500,000 and you've only paid one premium. It sounds amazing. Sounds too good to be true, but it's been out there for quite some time. So life insurance with a accelerated or a long-term care rider might look something like this. Life insurance with a built-in optional rider provides a monthly pool of benefits if we become chronically ill. This is Michelle, age 50, who for $342 a month got herself a $300,000 death benefit. So that's a life insurance policy that pays $300,000 in the event she died. Life insurance by its very nature is what? It's tax-free. We never paid taxes on proceeds from a life insurance policy unless a business deducted it. But in general, we pay for life insurance with after-tax dollars so that when the proceeds come in, our families, whether it's hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, and that's just how wealth is transferred in the wealthier circles as well. So $342 a month buys a life insurance plan with $300,000 of tax-free benefit, but it also gives her a rider of 4% of the $300,000 that she can tap, starting her out at $12,000 per month benefit if she became chronically ill. There's a 2% and a 4% rider. The rider is so inexpensive that I always put the 4 on there because it gives the larger benefit. So what if she only needed $6,000 a month? Well, then it would last longer, right? How long is it going to last? Well, it's going to last as long as the $300,000 pool of money. But not to get into a securities discussion, this happens to be a different type of plan that grows with the market. And by the time she's in her 80s, there's over $800,000 in here projected at a reasonable, a conservative growth factor. So, but You don't have to, so half of 342 would get her 150. Okay. But there's things that we can do for not a lot of money to have something in place for yourself. Now, then there's also a look at long-term care annuity funded plans using IRA funds. What? We can use IRA money to pay for this? Yeah, because sometimes people have their RMDs, their required minimum distribution money that they're not even using, or they have money sitting in qualified plans that they're not going to touch for a long time. They're not touching at all, and they don't have a long-term care plan. Well, let's take a look. These are all real clients. This was Mary, age 70, who had a group plan through her employer, through the workplace, that she was able to port and take with her. And I think she ended up with about $5,000 a month and a stable premium. Some of those old worksite benefits worked out really well. And so the company she worked for had I think it was a Hartford plan in place. And so she had $5,000 a month, but she was looking to supplement that. So she said, you know what, I wouldn't mind parting with $88,241. She took a partial distribution from her IRA. She puts it into an annuity, which started out with $88,241, but in order to cover the taxes for her, the insurance company gave her a 25% bonus. So her pot of money started out with $110,000. That $110,000 bought her a life insurance plan with an $11,030 premium that's paid off in 10 years. It has an immediate death benefit of $74,000, but it's given her $3,000 a month tax-free for life. One-time deposit of $88,000. This is pretty powerful. She's 70 years old. She didn't need that $88,000. She's not living on it. It was just sitting there accumulating, going to go to her heirs. But why not do that? Who wouldn't do that? Who wouldn't do that had that? Like, why not? So here we are, 70 years old. And so partial IRA rollover into the annuity. The annuity gives them a bonus of 25%. To the best of my knowledge, there's only one plan out there that can take qualified money. There's a lot of annuities out there, but they all can't take qualified money and do this. And so this is like a built-in one in the same contract. I asked them, can we take your annuity and go buy somebody else's life insurance policy? And you can't. It's all built in. It's all built into one contract. So, and I'm not here to advertise company names and shouldn't do it. Yes.
People do this. People buy long-term care insurance.
Yes.
Multiple.
Yes, I have people that have done a combination, right? Like this lady, she has this other thing. She has this other group plan and she's adding this to it. So she's got multiple things in place. But I have people that say, you know, I could use a little more life insurance. I'd like to do a little bit of that. And I've got a single deposit I can put to that. You can do a single, you can do a 10 pay, you can do a 5 pay, you can pay it for 20 years. You can do it over 2 years or 3 years. Kind of the world is your oyster when it comes to long-term care planning. There's so many different custom things you can do depending upon what assets you have.
So like an actuarial scale, you're looking at assisted living is $7,000 to $10,000 a month now. Memory care is $9,000 to $12,000 a month now. So you're looking at, you know, if it's a facility, for example, home care is $50 now. So if you're sitting with the client, are you looking at those kind of things too, to say, this is going to be $200,000-$300,000
Oh
a
yeah,
year?
absolutely.
You're looking at that too to determine how much they should
Well,
invest.
I'm kind of a perfectionist. I want people to have a perfect plan. I really want you to have a plan that's going to pay for the economic climate that we're in. If it's $140,000 for memory care at Luther Village, I would really like to help you build a plan to do that. But it's not a perfect world. People don't always have those assets. And here in this situation, she had 5 and 3. She's going to have 8,000 now. She's got other assets, and many times people do. But this is going to take a nice chunk of responsibility of taking on the front end. People are suing the financial advisors of parents that have that have plowed through their savings, and their kids are suing the financial advisors of the parents because they plowed through their assets, and the parents weren't told that, hey, you should be doing something. You don't have this plan. It's not all about accumulating assets and collecting fees. It's about helping people and doing the right thing. And we do the right thing where we come from. We might be different, but we try to do the right thing. Back to Michelle a second here. I wanted to add something to that. This, by the way, this is cash. This is not a reimbursement plan. Reimbursement means that you produce receipts or assign your benefits over and they pay the facility. So you've got to use licensed caregivers, licensed facility, licensed agencies. When you have one of these with a cash benefit, you can pay a spouse, a neighbor, an intern, the kid next door. If you have somebody that can come over and make you a sandwich and sit with you and sit outside the door while you take a shower, and you can pay them $15 an hour because there's somebody available to do that, you can do that. But with the reimbursement plans, you've got to use licensed facilities because they want an invoice. So when you have these types of plans that have the cash riders, that's kind of important.
Yeah, because the other ones have to have proof of care.
And you'll spend more money too. Your money will last longer if you have a cash rider than if you've got to pay the agencies for the caregivers. Because maybe you found a lovely person next door, a retired person that's not doing anything and would be happy to help you for $15 or $20 an hour instead of $50. So we want to make the money last as long as possible. So there's lots of options.
Carol,
Yes.
somebody online is asking if the death benefit amount changes with the market, or if that's a flat amount.
Some of the plans can change with the market. That one with Michelle, that was tied to the market, and not to get into a securities discussion because that's a whole different thing, but that can change with the market. That 800, 900,000 that is going to be accumulating, projected at 6%, that's based on the market. But what's guaranteed, and I don't deal with anything that's not guaranteed. That 300,000 that it starts out with, or 500 or whatever it is, that is absolutely guaranteed, and that monthly benefit is guaranteed regardless of what happens with the market. I don't want to be every year worrying about what happened with the market and what the client is going to have for their death benefit or their long-term care. Pardon me? It can go up, but it can't go down. So there is no downside risk. There's only upside potential. And these words that I'm saying, they are guarantees within some of these products, in the insurance products, yes. So we talked about, okay, here comes, this is, what is my top? What is it? What does that top go? Because I can't, what? Annuity funded for Rick and Teresa. Again, another real scenario here. An annuity funded, this is an unmarried couple. Rick and Teresa might look something like this. They took $150,000 partial rollover. They put it into an annuity, and that gave them, started out with $150,000. This was before the bonus of that turned to 25%. So this was like 6-8 months ago. So they got a 20% bonus. So their $150,000 was beefed up immediately. Their account opened with $180,000. That spun off an $18,000 a year premium for them to cover the two of them with a life insurance plan that gave them $176,000 death benefit and a lifetime. How old are these people? 60, and Teresa's 60 and Rick is 65. This gave them $176,000 death benefit and a lifetime long-term care benefit, each of $5,288 a month for life. Is that going to solve the whole problem? No. But Barbara, like we talked about, it's going to solve part of the problem, and it's going to be tax-free money coming in that they didn't have before, and all they had to do was reposition, not spend, but reposition $150,000 to give them that. Take that times 2 for life and see how many hundreds of thousands of dollars that is, the potential, the power of this plan. Life with a long-term care asset-based hybrid. So we looked at traditional long-term care. We looked at life insurance with a long-term care rider. Now we're going to look at a hybrid asset-based plan. Okay, that type of plan might look something like this. How many people do we know sitting there? It's mostly women with CDs, invested in CDs. Anne had a $100,000 CD coming due, and if she left it and reinvested it in the CD, $100,000 by age 88, she'd have $228,000 with tax on the interest, assuming an interest rate of 3% at the time we made this slide. But putting it over into a hybrid long-term care plan gives her $375,000 today, pool of money. By age 88, $858,000. She wasn't going to use that $100,000. She didn't need it. With no tax on the growth, if no long-term care benefit is used, her family gets $115,000. So in the hybrid type plan, there's a small death benefit. You saw in the Michelle illustration, she puts in a small amount premium, and that gave her a $300,000 immediate death benefit. The hybrid kind of goes in reverse. It takes a small death benefit, and then it inflates the long-term care pot. So if no long-term care benefit was used, there's a death benefit there of $115,000. So she hasn't given her $100,000 to the insurance company away at all. Her family's going to get it back tax-free upon death. Not a lot of growth, not any growth, right? But if she needs it, she's going to get to tap into $858,000 as her pool of money. And all she did was reposition $100,000, and she was 60 when she did it. That's pretty cool, I think. Okay, questions. I wanted to give you an idea of different types of plans. It's not hopeless if you haven't done anything. You saw Hank was 75. I have people that are 78 I'm working with right now, and they are repositioning some assets that they weren't going to use, that want to leave some money to their children. And it's something that they weren't going to use because they have adequate Social Security and other savings. And she's 78 and we're making a plan. So I'm offering an optional consultation. If you'd like to schedule a phone consultation with me or a one-on-one, happy to answer your questions about your personal situation or pre-screen you and see if there's something that can be done. Even if you've been declined somewhere else years ago, I don't leave any stone unturned. And I have gotten people covered that have had a 35-year lifetime of MS that couldn't get coverage anywhere. And I got them a life with long-term care plan, and just work on it until there's no place else to go. And oftentimes I've gotten people, I guess it's like in anything. It would be like an attorney defending someone in court. You can have somebody that does a little bit of a job for them, or you can have somebody that tries to do a really good job. And we try to do a really good job. And yes.
Carol, I've got a question. I get some clients who have gone to claims or make a claim for their long-term care benefits and have run into trouble with that. A few things seem to be proving that they need help with their ADLs, and then also what is that starting date, like the starting date of the elimination period? How do you know that you're not a facility that you need this care? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you prove that on March 1st, 2024, I was no longer able to pay or trust myself?
Good question. In case people didn't hear that, question is, how does someone prove that people have had difficulty processing a claim, proving that they needed assistance? And then the other piece of the question was, refresh me on the second part of it.
The exact start date.
The start date of that. I'm going to say that it kind of varies from situation to situation and carrier to carrier. But generally, if you have a certified health professional, and that can be a PA or a nurse or a physician, say that you need assistance in 2 of 6 activities of daily living, that is enough to start a claim and start a claim form. I have had companies that say, you needed help for the last 60 days and you didn't ask for it. They're going to count that 60 days. Or you can find a company, there may be a company that says, you know what, you weren't receiving care for 90 days. And so we're going to start when the clock starts ticking and you start receiving care. So we assist in that area too. I can't squeeze blood out of a turnip, but I have a claims manager background and I'm pretty tenacious, and I have gotten companies to do things that they had said no to the client first. So
Carol, would you say that the best course of action would not be to do it yourself, but to contact you? If you have a plan in place, if you help somebody with to contact.
Oh, we do. We absolutely. I have a number of clients on claim because we've been working with long-term care plans since the 80s. And so they do contact me. We do help them get the file started. We do make sure that benefits begin. And if it's somebody that is not if it's somebody that has another plan and is having difficulty, I'd be happy to take a call from somebody and help give them some direction, because nobody should go through something like that has paid for a plan. And then another thing too, in all of these circumstances, once you go on claim, you don't pay the premium anymore. So that's kind of nice. Waiver premium. We see that with disability insurance. Mary, maybe you have professional disability insurance, protecting your income. Other people that have personal disability insurance. Also with life insurance, when you don't pay the premium when you become disabled, you don't have to pay the premium anymore. So that's something people concerned about, like, oh my gosh, what if I do need long-term care? If I'm working or if I'm, spending extra money, how am I going to pay the cost of this coverage going forward? When you go on claim, premiums are waived. So that's something good to know. Barbara.
I just want to point out, because you talked about the activities of daily living, that everyone understands that it can't be like making someone a sandwich. It can't be a ride. It's got to be a touching service, correct? So it's helping the shower, getting dressed. It's got to have something to do with the patient care, not the other stuff.
Say again, what? The touching part. A doctor's going to certify that you need assistance getting from one place to another, and that's generally hands-on assistance, right? Helping with the shower. That has been defined as standby assistance in the shower. Someone doesn't necessarily need to be physically washed in order to be, so yes and no to that.
Right.
Yes and no to that question.
Assistance is assistance.
Yeah, exactly. And when I said that thing about make a sandwich, I was referring to like the cash, if that's where that was part of that was coming from, like someone being able to pay for that person that they need this assistance, yes. But if it's that neighbor that you can pay for and you need them to stand by while you're taking a shower and make you that sandwich, and because you're unable to prepare your food and things like that, you can eat it but maybe can't prepare it, risks at the stove or standing or things like that. So I've been doing this for a long time, and I have not had one long-term care claim challenged or had anyone who had anything other than the who, what, when, and where. They're not paying me, and that's all the companies out there, regardless of the brand name. So I'm glad. I've helped people establish claims, but I've never had to help anybody that wasn't getting paid.
We get people that will want to use your policies, and they'll say that they're going to be moving into independent living. It's not going to cover you in independent living. It will cover home care if you're in independent living, but so that comes up a lot.
Yes, yeah.
Or they try to squeeze themselves into assisted living, but they're not no physician is writing off that they need care. They're trying to get in there so they can get the senior living paid for.
And our own physicians are going to be a little more sympathetic to us than a stranger. So to have your own doctor say that you need assistance in 2 of 6 activities of daily living, they're probably going to be more liberal than a stranger. And yet people still, if the doctor's not going to make something up, they're going to be a little more liberal, but they won't make it up if you're not ready for that. And I found with our clients, people don't want that anyway. They really want to remain independent and be in their homes and not need somebody, and I've never found anybody anxious to use their policy. And I'm guilty of not looking at the clock, and I'm looking at a timer here. So okay.
Down on the tables for those that are here in person. Do you want to?
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay. So we talked about this a little bit about that, about the brushing of the teeth, and for my gift for you this evening is here's your 2-minute timer. And I do have one of these in the bathroom. I mentioned that I got this from Mutual of Omaha years ago. It's quite ancient, but that's what gave me the idea to put that in the bathroom, and then to do those leg lifts or whatever you want to do, stand on one leg and balance. And pardon me?
How do they get them?
How do they get them? How do they get what? How do they get the timer? The people on the Zoom?
Yeah.
Well, they're not very expensive. You can come in for a consultation. We also have, we're also going to email you. We have takeaway folders for this evening. So for all of you on the Zoom, I've got some plan of care worksheet in there for you that you'll find very valuable. Offer you an optional time to schedule with Michelle if you'd like to speak with me for a half hour or so and just kind of see what's on your mind. I appreciate you being on here tonight because it tells me that you're interested in planning. I feel like there's an elephant in the room. I'm talking to Barbara about this earlier. This is long-term care Awareness Planning Month, and I think it's a really important thing that people need to put it on their agendas, and happy to help you. And if you come in and visit with me, you'll get your timer. Hopefully you'll get a lot more. But people here tonight will get a takeaway folder. And if you email us or call, we'll be happy to send you the things that we've got in our takeaway folder this evening. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of our 40th anniversary celebration. That was just an excuse to have some wine and have a little reception with the people here live.
Thank you so much.
You're
Let me grab
welcome.
The mic real quick. Thank you everyone for coming. I wanted to tell you that there are blue folders here at Elderwerks at 251 East Northwest Highway. We will leave some here if you'd like them. Here in Palatine, we're here 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. 847-462-0885 if you want to call ahead. And are there any other questions before we finish for the evening? Any other questions in the chat?
Carol's information in the chat.
Carol's information, Carol Brandt's information is in the chat. Everybody see it. And give her a call for any further questions. So we thank you for joining us this evening and appreciate your time and your interest. See you again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about that.
Still on watching us.